I know you've been, I know you've been.
Another question I had, I think it was during your the detox call. You had said someone would ask the question about sunscreen for people of black skin, and you said we didn't need to put on sunscreen because we're deficient from vitamin D. We don't absorb the sun as well. And we were talking about skin cancers. I think that came up. I had a basal cell carcinoma on my hip because I never used to wear sunscreen. But after having it removed, because I had it was like a mole, I guess, that turned into cancer, but it's never been exposed to the sun because it's on my hip. And every time I used to go to the dermatologist and I would show it to them, they would tell me it was nothing. But then as I started noticing it was changing color, size, and shape, and I kept looking online, I'm like, this doesn't look right. So then I finally found a dermatologist that did a biopsy, and it turned out to be a basal cell. And she told me, and she was white, but she did her training in a black hospital in Brooklyn, and she said she's seen it in some black people. And she said the reason why other dermatologists probably disregarded it and never really tested it is because black people usually don't get that type of skin cancer. So then from then on, I started using sunscreen. So I don't know, should I stop using sunscreen?
Okay, so here's the thing. Is that skin cancer related to the sun or not? Because you got skin cancer, it doesn't mean that it's the sun that did it. It's something that you've been eating, something that you've been ingesting, something that you may have been breathing in that has caused cancer on the skin. Now, we don't tell black people you can't get skin cancer. We're telling black people you don't need protection from the sun. You need the sun. You see, there's a difference, and I think that's where people will, every time I'm having a debate with somebody over, black people can get skin cancer. Yeah, they can. Of course they can. But is it the sun that's causing it? No.
Well, yeah, in my case, it couldn't have been the sun because it was not exposed to the sun, that area, because it's on my hip. So I guess that was kind of weird. But I guess because also one of the things the doctor said is because black people, we have some of us are mixed, have some white in us. So
well, hold on, another thing. So when we say sun, sorry, Dr. Amsu, just jump in here. When we say sun, there are literally, millions of rays that come from the sun, right? The ones that are most harmful to our bodies, or most conducive to our bodies, range in a certain band, right? So UVB, UVC are really good for us, right? But within the ultraviolet, there are many bands in the ultraviolet. But guess what? And I would love for you guys to do some research in this. Did you know that they use chemicals to create ultraviolet to make your clothes white? Biological soap powder. So you also got to look at what you use to wash your clothes.
Right.
Because if you got on your hip and it didn't come from the sun, but it's some kind of UV related condition, there are chemicals that replicate UV.
And you know what as well? So he's talking about soap powders, right? You wash your clothes in, soap detergent, right? And conditioners. There are substances that we expose our bodies to, that we ingest through our skin, that cause cancers, that are carcinogenic.
yeah.
And there are, and here's the bad thing about the FDA. FDA will allow a certain amount of, carcinogens per milliliter or per ounce or whatever the scale they use. They actually allow certain amounts of carcinogens to be used. They allow, for meat eaters, there's certain amount of feces that is allowed to be in your meat.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, certain amount of vomit that's allowed to.
Don't pay this man no attention.
but the feces is no joke, right? But there's a certain amount. There are certain amounts of these impurities that the FDA will say, okay, if it goes above this threshold, then no, it can't make it. It can't make the grade, and then that's of what is inspected.
I know you've been. I know you.